What's up, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Two Sisters, One Book. I'm Carla.
And I'm Amanda. We're two sisters, two moms tackling one book at a time.
All right, we are back for another episode of Obsidian by K.F. Breen. I'm excited. We're almost, actually, I think pretty much by the end of this episode, we're going to be like halfway through the book. So
Wow.
I know.
Wow.
I'm excited. I was reading on my Kindle and it's like 50% done. I was like, oh, that went a lot quicker than I expected. Before we get into this episode, we're going to quickly just kind of do a brief recap of what we learned last episode. So, Daisy realizes the Fey man had set her up, leaving her a dagger so she could test it on monsters while he watched. She survives, learning the weapon's power, and later goes on a tense date with Liam, the bartender, trying to uncover his motives. The next day, Daisy wakes to find a breach and finds Liam was taken out on the lawn with a dove feather, confirming the Fey man is killing in her name. Digging into Rutherford's laptop, the group uncovers rune weapons and gem artifacts tied to the crystal chalice. They track down the supplier, and when Daisy touches one of the stones, she's overwhelmed by heat and sound and collapses as everything goes wrong. Okay. So, to set the scene for this episode, we see that Daisy and her group of family and friends basically kind of gets her out of this situation. They end up kicking this stone or gem, as you would call it, baby, out of her hands. And she has like this kind of relapse of it. She's feeling all the effects of whatever this rock or stone did to her. They end up leaving, but they gather as many of the rocks that they can, being really careful about touching the one that caused this reaction in her. And they load them up in the car and they take off. And as they're driving, they have this huge encounter with what they don't even understand, because Lexi can't even feel the souls. Daisy can't feel the souls, and they don't know what's going on. So, what were your thoughts in this whole situation of them literally getting the stone out of her hand and into the car?
Well, I really enjoyed these three chapters, I'm going to say. I found it very interesting how she was it seemed like she was electrocuted because she was like convulsing on the floor. I loved how Thane just scooped her up and was walking out the door to take her to the car where Bria was. And his way of trying to get her to react to him was really funny to me because he's like, come on, princess, I know she hates being called that, but she's like starting to become spunky again, like, I'm not a princess, or I'm fine, it's like slowly fading off anyways. But that was actually kind of funny to see. And then my one of my favorite scenes, because I could totally see a kid doing this, is Mordecai totally saw what happened to his sister and he went to go grab that stone like with his bare hands, and Lexi's like, excuse me, hello, did you not just see what it did to your sister, like psycho?
I
So I
know.
got I kind of had that picture, right, where he's just all like, ooh, shiny, let me touch it too. Or was he drawn to it? I don't know, but my thought process was, man, teenager kids, they don't really see what's going on. And I
Mhm.
really enjoyed seeing those creatures coming in. At first, I was like, man, what are those things if they couldn't see it or if they couldn't sense the souls? And then I was thinking, because one of them was explained as like a skeleton type thing. And I'm like, wow, does somebody else have Lexi's power? Right? Did I get that right?
That's an interesting theory. Um, well, as we know, the souls or the things that they were seeing.
They're not from this realm because clearly we find that out later. But I'm talking about the scene right now. Like, first time reading it,
Yeah.
my thoughts were,
Yeah.
did somebody take or does somebody have Lexi's power? Like, do you know what I'm talking about right here? Where,
Yeah, like you're almost looking to see if somebody has her power where they can like raise the dead and have them like come and talk, right?
yeah, because it was just weird. But then we do see like a lot of stuff happening, glasses breaking, and all this stuff is happening that a whole different creature is the thing that took
Hmm.
Daisy away, which they're
Yeah.
kelpies or something.
Well, they like
Which,
flew in, which these things that were causing all this ruckus to the car. it wasn't like when I first read it, I thought, oh, it's another car of people coming after her. Like I was thinking, oh, it's this friend of Rutherford's who was holding the stone. I thought, well, maybe it's his people who are helping guard coming after them. But then when I was rereading it this time, I must have missed the word that they flew in. So whoever these creatures are that were coming after their car, it was obviously we know to be Fae, but they flew in and it was literally their strength and force that took the car out.
Yeah. Which I thought was crazy because at first I pictured like ghost type things flying in and attacking the car. And then, of course, we learn later, but I was just like, that's all crazy stuff happening right there. But the fact that Lexi couldn't sense them, and then Daisy wasn't able to sense them, and then Daisy was taken. Like I was
Hmm.
like, oh no, our girl. And okay, so when I first read that she was taken, I was like in the back of my head, oh, you're in trouble. Our mysterious man is gonna come, thinking she had the dagger on her, but we find out that I was way wrong on that. But we
Yeah.
do see that she is taken by these Kelpie people, and they're not as smart as the people she is used to being captive by. So then I was like, how many times have you been captive? Because she's like, he's not the
Nice.
smartest captor. Yeah, yeah, twice. And
Yeah.
I just thought it was really funny because she's just like playing this weak human scared. So she got her roll down and she's like, I can't just kick the Fae in the face. And I was like, yes, you can. At this point, yes, you can. So, right?
um
I don't know. I thought it was funny, but
yeah.
she knows his
Well, we
language. So,
yeah, well, and that's also part of the magic that Lexi gave her. So she's able to have the languages almost and I think it's fascinating. It's like the language is what's the word? Translated. Like she can speak the language, but it comes out as their language. And then when they speak, she can interpret what they're saying in her language. So that was kind of fascinating that that was like a power that she got from Lexi. But going back really quickly to this rock, right? This item that they found, the one that caused all of this commotion with Daisy. So it's described as like crystal around the outside of a misshapen sphere, glittered grays, creams, and whites, textured inside, and then flat surfaces, an opening and a hollow inside. Glittering points like princess cut diamonds flowed through like a river and stilled in three places. So I loved the description of this rock and she talked about how beautiful it looked and I was curious, you and I are not like people who like to just go on and just create all kinds of things with AI and chat GPT, but I was so curious, I wanted to see what this looked like. So I literally took this paragraph of this description and I plugged it into chat GPT and I was like, just show me what this looks like, I'm very curious, I want to get a visual look. Do you want to see it?
yeah.
Okay, right here. This is exactly what this gave that chat GPT gave me. Now, don't get me wrong, like I pictured it slightly a little different, and there's certain things about it that I think it might have gotten wrong. Like I pictured the hollow inside to be a little bit smaller. Like I didn't picture the hole to be quite so big because as Daisy was talking about this, she says that her thumb kind of like touched the hollow part of the rock. So the way I interpreted that is that it was small enough to where she didn't notice it at first glance. Now, if any of you are listening to the audio, you can't see what I'm showing Amanda. So you're gonna have to go check us out on YouTube if you want to see it. But I have a little picture here that I'm just showing you guys, and this is what it gave me. So, what are your thoughts on this picture?
I think it came pretty close to what I was thinking. The hole might be a little too big, yes, but I do love the sparklies of the diamonds and everything of it and the flowiness. And it came pretty spot on. That's kind of crazy. But now we have a visual of what our Daisy was messing with. So
Yeah, no, and I loved it. I was like, I would put it on my desk. Like if I had this
it would be
object,
your
I would put it there.
paperweight.
I was just thinking it would be a paperweight. How perfect. Like something so
That is
important
my
and is used as
favorite.
a paperweight.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
but so we know that she touched this rock, what is to be believed as the crystal chalice, and it caused some type of reaction through her body, as we saw at the end of the chapter. But this is the only rock that caused this. We know that the other rocks just sort of they sort of glowed and did different types of things when they were around them. But why do you think, if you had to guess, like why do you think this one was different than the others? Like why didn't all the others do this?
I don't know. I have so many theories going through my head right now. It's like ridiculous. So we could go back to two theories. I'll cut it down to two theories. Is that she is something more than what the elders like Lexi or Kyrian or anyone is telling her. Like she's more than just a Chester. She's something more special. Like
Wait, let me pause you real quick. You called them elders. They're
I
technically
did.
younger than you and I. So let's refrain
Well,
from
for
calling them
her, they're her
elders.
elders. Okay.
I'm just kidding.
Hmm. The old people. No. Um, that
Not as
she's
good. Not
something
good.
more. Not good enough. So her wannabe step. No, I'm just kidding. So
Sorry.
so Lexi is. I don't even know where I'm going with this
I'm
anymore.
sorry. No, you were saying that Lexi and Kieran. I just had to throw that in there because you're calling them elders. I'm like, hold on a
They
second.
are. I don't know what else to call them right now. Her guardians are. I feel like they're hiding something. Or they don't know exactly. I feel like they do because they're demigods, right? Lexi's a
Yeah.
demigod. Kieran's a demigod. I feel like they know. They just don't want to tell her. Type. The less she knows, the more protected she is. Maybe type thing.
Hmm.
So when this, as we call it, um, was it a rock or a stone? Whatever. As she touches this stone type thing, that it kind of connected with her and was like humming. But we also see, like, I don't know if it was just like still humming from her effect, but we do see that it's still humming after they kick it out of her hand. Or it could be well, because we do find out that it is like the chalice thing that they were looking for. So it could be like that it is that powerful rock too. But I
Hmm.
don't know why it would be humming. I honestly believe that she is more than just a Chester and that she is making these rocks active, like with the glowing and the humming.
Hmm.
Because
Okay.
did roof when roof fit? So I want to know back, and maybe you would know more about it since you've already read it. Do you think roof it did the humming and the glowing when Roofer had it? That's why it was so special, or did he just know that it was something antique?
That's actually a good question. I don't know because we never see Rutherford or any of the people that were working for him actually touching it. We do know that it was sitting on a metal shelf, but we don't know what it was, like how it got there. So it's hard to say because for all I mean, I would get if I had to guess, I would guess that it didn't do the same thing because as we know when Daisy touches it, it sort of expels out of her and then other people like the Kelpie people are able to sense her and they come and get her. I feel like they would have already come for Rutherford if it did that with him. So I feel like
It
she is the only
activated
one
because
this
of
is
her.
I feel like that would be the case. And also, we don't know because her family was like, we don't know if we touch it. Because as we saw, Mordecai was going to grab it. And Lexi's like, don't touch it. You saw what it did to your sister. So they're like trying to pick it up with other objects or kicking it with their shoe. Nobody else actually touches it because Daisy's the only one who did. And then it stopped any type of physical touch to that object. So as of right now, we're only under the assumption that it had this reaction with Daisy. Now, if somebody
Okay.
else had touched it, would it have had the same reaction? I don't know because we didn't see that side of it.
Okay. Do you think that this was like a small Easter egg in the other books that were written?
I would say no. Um, I think that this specific rock is strictly for this book. Now, don't, nobody get mad at me because, like I said, I didn't read the other books. I know you're probably thinking, why wouldn't you read the other books? But when I found this book and I started reading it, I didn't know that it was attached to another book. And so I can't speak on that. But I do think that this rock is specifically for this book only. I don't know if it's something that was brought up in those.
Okay. So exciting. Okay.
I know. But we do know that whatever this object is, it is significant. And it seems to be what everybody's been looking for. Like, we know the mystery Feyman was looking for a crystal chalice. And we know that what Daisy had in her bra had this humming when he came and grabbed it, but he still took it. Do you know what I mean? So
Hmm.
I can't say that these other objects in the room that were different colors and humming are insignificant, because obviously the Feyman still wanted it, but for some reason this specific rock that caused this explosion in Daisy and this power shift is of utmost significance, if that makes any sense.
Yes.
So my question
Wondering
is
it.
what makes it different? Why is it different from the other ones? You know?
I don't
But yeah,
know.
we'll have to
It's a
keep our eyes
chalice.
on that.
It's the key to get the gate down. Let's
um,
talk about these Kelpie people.
yeah, I was just going to bring them up. So, did you catch on to the fact that they, we found out that they're Kelpie, that they've got like this, what is it? Um, these gill type things. Like, clearly they come from water. Do you remember that Zorn, his family comes from the Sapphire Kingdom? He comes from this line.
Remember the Statfire Kingdom, but I didn't know they were the Kelpie people.
So the Kelpie people, I could be mistaken, but I want to say the Kelpie people, like these specific people, are more like warriors for the Sapphire Kingdom. But we do know that they come from the Sapphire Kingdom. So we do know that this is technically from Zorn's family side. Now it's not from Zorn, obviously, but this is his people, the people in his blood. So I
Ah.
must have missed that the first time I read it, but when I saw it, I was like, oh, this is Zorn's family people that are, causing this kind of trouble. And we know that they tend to have spies because they came and they hunted down Daisy. And that was interesting because the people that came and attacked Daisy's car were not even from the Kelpie people. The people that attacked her car were from the Dark King. So the Dark King sends these people to attack the car, but then the Kelpie people end up leaving with Daisy. So they were clearly spying on her. And they obviously felt that, what's it called?
The energy?
Feeling. Yeah. They felt the energy coming out of her. And so they knew to grab Daisy, because my question was, why did they only grab Daisy if they didn't know about this? Like, they obviously knew Daisy was significant because they left everybody else and they only grabbed her and they took her.
Yeah. I know they were working for somebody too, but I know our mystery Fey man comes to her rescue. And at first I didn't know it was our mystery Fey man. Um, what's his name? Tyrion? Tyrion is his name?
Tarian.
Tyrion.
We know his name now,
Um,
Tarian.
I like Mystery Fey men better. We know Tyrion comes in, but I feel like the whole room kind of got still and was terrified of his presence being there. And even one of them said, "I'm sorry, I didn't even know." Because he's all
Hmm.
like, "You touched my property." So that to me tells me, you could totally tell me if I'm wrong, that's not spoiling anything, that he is someone super important and really high up there. Because the fact that they were all kind of terrified of him, and the fact that he said, "You touched my property, and not alone did you touch it, but you kind of damaged her." And he was like, "I'm sorry, I didn't know." And it was just like his death wish from there. So I'm like, are these people working for him? I know he said something about what is it? Each court has their problems, or see they're trying to be sneaky or something as he's talking to Daisy. But I'm just trying to figure out, why were they so scared of him? They kind of already knew he was coming because they called him by his name. So they
Hmm.
clearly knew who he was. Am I getting
So,
somewhere?
okay. So I'll tell you what we know. So we know that Tarian, our mystery Fey man, I love that I can say his name now because I was trying so hard not to say his name all these chapters earlier because I didn't want to spoil that for you. But we know that, yeah, Tarian shows up. and he tells them like, you touch my property. And the first thing I think that comes to their head is they're thinking, because they have all the stones. And if we go back and we look at what they're doing, is they're taking these stones and they put one in Daisy's hand to see what it would do. And it clicked in Daisy's mind that what they were doing is they were trying to see if it would have the same reaction, that explosion reaction. Because if even if she like touches a stone, it starts to hum and glow, but that doesn't mean that that's the crystal chalice. So then they're trying to figure that out. So they're like trying to put things in there. So I think their first initial thought was when Tarian shows up, he's like, you touch my property. And they're like, well, they're thinking it's the crystal chalice. They're like, well, we had a truce with you guys because the kingdom that Damien, the kingdom that Tarian's coming from, which is the Obsidian Kingdom, they supposedly have a truce with the Sapphire Kingdom. And they don't really go into too much about the truce, but it has something to do with these crystal chalices, right? So almost like they're working together to try to find the crystal chalices. And what it seems like is the Sapphire Kingdom people went and found Daisy with the stones, and instead of going directly to the Obsidian Kingdom with it, they took them separately and they were testing it out to see like, does this work? Like maybe we want to keep this for ourselves. But then Tarian shows up and he's like, you've got something that's mine. So they're thinking, no, no, no. We were going to bring the stone to you guys. We were just testing the theories out. We just wanted to see if it was true what you guys were claiming these stones to be.
See, I
And
interpreted it wrong. I took it as they knew exactly what. I know they didn't know what the stones were and they were trying to figure it out because they were not smart, but I knew that they knew the second he said something that Daisy was theirs, because even one of them was like, I was only doing what I forgot his name said to do. And he's all like, yeah, well, that was a mistake type thing.
yeah,
So
well, yeah. So they at first they thought he was talking about the stone, which obviously that is what he was looking for. But in reality, he turns around and he was just like, yeah, but what I was actually talking about is you touched my property. The girl is mine. And that's when they were like, we didn't know she was yours. And obviously, as you pinpointed, you see a lot of fear that they have towards Tarian. So you're like, who is this Tarian man in association with the Obsidian Kingdom that has these men terrified? Because they're thinking, oh, we can talk our way out of taking the stone. We knew we were coming after the stone. We were going to bring it to you guys. We were just testing our theories to see if it worked. But what they couldn't get themselves out of was touching Daisy. And they didn't realize that Daisy was technically his property because he claimed her. And now he's like, well, it doesn't matter anymore because since you touched her, I'm basically going to kill all of you. So he goes after all of them, but he makes it a slow, painful death for the one that actually kicked Daisy and touched her, like scratched her and did all that. It goes to show that he's not kidding when it comes down to her being his. Nobody can touch her. Nobody can attack her. She is all his. And so that's, I think, more what they were talking about in that section per se.
I do like how he, though, cleaned up the mess really fast. And I do like how
Mhm.
he was concerned about the animals. He's like, we can't leave the animals by themselves. So they end up sleeping in the wagon. And once again, he drugs her. But she is kind of thankful for it because she even said she wasn't going to sleep at all that night, or she was going to run away, which was, I was wondering why she didn't try to run. But I was like, oh, just kidding. Right here. She was drugged. Because if it
And
was me,
and
I
he'll
would have
just find
ran.
her. Yeah, he's just going to
Yeah,
continuously find her no matter where she tries to go. I mean, he shows it. He came and found her with these people or kelpie people that, I mean, I don't know
but
if we
he
call
was
them people,
watching
but
her too because he
yeah.
took her dagger. He was all like, "You left something behind." So
Yeah, he
I was
did
just
take her
like, "Dang
dagger.
it, she didn't even have it." Which was one of Carla's clues last time when she asked, "Do you think he's going to take his dagger back?" I was like, "What?"
Yeah, well, because we
Yeah,
know she didn't have it when she went to go to the farm to look for the chalices or look through these rocks. We know she didn't have it because she didn't want him figuring out what her plan was. Um, but yeah, so he ends up obviously taking the dagger. But yeah, they slept in this wagon, and he's like, "Yep, we're gonna leave the next day. We're gonna stay the night here." And it was interesting. I mean, because he slept next to her in the wagon. Did you see that? She goes, "He hopped out from around me," and I was like, "Oh, she slept with him that night." Okay, not literally slept with him, but like I guess literally slept with him, but not,
That's why she woke up.
slept with
She's
him.
like, "I woke up because he left." But yeah, and she didn't notice that he crawled into bed with her. But
Yeah.
something in that woods or wherever they're at, that terrain area kinda I feel like kinda spooks him too, because he was saying he used to
Hmm.
have to put up boards and that this wagon was something nice for him to sleep in. I was like, "What's
Yeah.
in there? What's spooky coming out?" Like, I wanna know, "What creatures are you talking about?" Like The
Now we
Witcher all over
know,
again.
yeah. Now we know he talked about the computer a little bit again. And I think going back to even what we talked about last time, he is a lot smarter than what they were giving him credit for. Cause they're like, oh, this person tried to delete the files, and like we're smarter than that. We can go in and find these deleted files. But really he was doing it as a ploy because he didn't want to obviously give Daisy the answers, but he knew he couldn't figure out where these rocks were. So he left these little breadcrumbs of like, hey, I just deleted something. Maybe you need to go in and figure it out. And that's how, yeah, he was spying on her. So I gotta give Tarian credit. He's pretty smart.
I told you he's always, like, a couple steps ahead. This guy
I
is
know
way
he
smarter than what people are giving him credit for.
okay. So there's a few conversations that were talked about from when they were leaving the campsite to where they're leaving on the Fey Gate, because we know that Tarian is taking Daisy across through the Fey Gate and into what they call the Wields, and then into the Kingdom of Fairy. So one of the conversations that I thought was interesting is they talk a little bit about the chalice. So she wonders why they call it a chalice, right? She's like, it's not a cup. This is like a rock. Like, why do you guys call this a chalice? And he kind of goes into the fact that like it's kind of in their language, but it's almost like a myth, but it's given to mean that it's an instrument that holds unlimited power, as no power is unlimited. But that's just a theory. So it's like, okay, so whatever this stone is obviously holds unlimited power, and nothing else really does, so it is something of high value. But the most powerful thing that is produced is by nature and enhanced by a human blessed by the gods in some way. So what that tells me is that this rock, this crystal chalice that we're speaking of, is something that was produced by nature and was enhanced. So it was kind of strengthened by humans and then blessed by the gods. So there's like three different things that came into place to make this crystal chalice the unlimited amount of power that it contains. So that was just, I thought that was interesting that it requires something by nature, something by human, and something that's blessed by the gods. Three things that made this contain unlimited power.
Oh. It kinda
Hmm.
sounds like Daisy. She was blessed by the cause, she's something human, and she's something nature.
That's very interesting, right? Um, but yeah, so that to me just that was kind of an interesting way to look at it. But yeah, this is what the crystal chalice is. So we know that it's going to contain something very powerful. We just don't know what that is yet. So that was an interesting conversation that they had. We also learn that the going back to kind of what we talked about earlier, that the creatures that attacked them were minions of the dark fae, and obviously they were coming after Daisy. So not only did we have the Fae Man who was trying to come after Daisy, we have the minions of the Dark Fae, and we have the Kelpie people. Like, how many people do you think are after this crystal chalice? Like, it seems like a lot.
I feel like probably every court is, because I feel like once you have that chalice, you hold the power. You technically
Yeah.
can hold the power. So I feel like it's like that's why he keeps saying games on, which makes me seem like I feel like he kinda wants it to stop whatever bad thing is gonna happen. But clearly you can't destroy the chalice because Daisy already tried to destroy the chalice.
Hmm.
She tried to throw it in
Yeah.
the fire or something, and he's all like, "No, you
Hmm.
can't destroy it like that." But there is a way to destroy it. You have to like take it up to the gods or the celestials.
Yeah. And have it retired.
Yeah, take it up to the divine, taken to the divine collective of the seven gods of the celestials, and they must be asked to retire it. Must be pleaded with, probably. He says probably. So
Hmm.
it's not 100% sure. I think he's just like, well, this is what I've been told.
Yeah, he probably doesn't even know himself. And we know that the seven gods that he's talking about are like the old gods. They're the ones who created the celestials to keep the peace, or not really keep the peace, but keep some type of divide between the humans and the Fey realm, right? Like they put the fringe down, they separated everything. So it's like you have the celestials who everybody's scared of, but then you have the seven gods that created the celestials. So those are the ones that have to physically retire the crystal chalice, and that seems like a lot of work. Like, how are you going to get there? How are you going to do that? you
So
know
I picture this whole scene because y'all know I like to like compare stuff. You remember Hercules, the cartoon, where he takes Mags
yes,
up to the gods and stuff? I feel like that's how our Fae guy is gonna be taking the stone up and be like, can we just retire this? Our Daisy, like, can we just retire this stone, please?
he's our dark
Type thing.
Hercules.
Right? Like, geez. Yeah, no, it does sound like a lot of hard work, but then once again, I feel like Daisy's the key to all of it. So I'm actually
Well,
really excited to see what the character Daisy's gonna like her character growth for this book is.
yeah, because she says earlier, do you remember, she's like, you don't need me anymore. Now you have the crystal chalice. So, like, can you drop me off back at home? And he's just like, you don't understand. Like, you are my toy. Like, I am going to break you. I am going to show you off to
It's
everyone
his
and show the power
pet.
you have. And you are my pet. So that's him saying,
Yeah.
I am not sending you home and you're coming with me. So it's like, why does she have to come with you, though? I understand that you guys have this connection because my thought is maybe because they kissed, he has this connection with her. But when he kissed her, did he know that she was going to play this role? Or did he kiss her knowing she was going to play the role, hoping that it would help guide him?
Yeah.
Like
See,
those are
reading
things
more,
that
it seems like it's totally enemies into lovers. Like I don't
Yeah, like that's what I'm wondering is like he was fighting against the kiss, but was he really fighting against it, or was he hoping to lock her in some way? And is that why he's dragging her along, because she's tied to him and she is his toy, or is it more than that? Those are things that were constantly running through my mind when I was reading this for the first time, is I'm like, why does she have to go with you? If all you needed her for was, maybe to help break through Rutherford's laptop, you got that. But why does she need to continuously come with you? Unless maybe they're fated and mated together, and he wants to keep her there because secretly he knows they have to be together. I don't know.
That's what I have been saying. That's what I've been saying, and your facial expression seems like I've been wrong the whole time. But no, after
No.
reading more of it and getting to know the character more, I feel like he's more of a I don't want you, but I don't want you too far away from me because even as he gets his horse out into the open so they could ride it, and he has a donkey, by the way. He has a
I know.
horse and a donkey. And they're riding on the horse together because he doesn't trust her to walk by herself. That they start even getting even more flirtatious, like he can't keep his hands off of her and he's like all up in her ear, he's touching her thigh and everything. So it could be one of those situations where he knows that something's drawing them together, but he's like so embarrassed because he he doesn't know exactly what she is, but
Because I kind of think I know
he's
what you're gonna say, but I'm not gonna
because
confirm or deny
twice
it.
he said it's like it's not like you're not human or something, and then the other one is like you have to be a god or something. Like he was talking about, and she's like, "Wow, he's charming" or something. I don't know.
This, th- Yeah, are you talking about this part? It says, "You are so much more than a mere Chester," he murmured. His breath washed goosebumps across her skin. "So much more than a human. You have the radiance of a god."
Yes. Okay. So that was one. And if you go farther back, there was another thing that he mentioned, or further, I don't know. But that is one of them. Cause I was like, see, he's starting to figure out she's not just, she has to be a mutt.
Interesting. Interesting. Are you looking for the other one?
Yeah. And I can't find it. I swore I highlighted it because I was like, look, clue number one, clue number two. I'm going to start highlighting every time he says something about her not being a Chester. But it's fine. We could just keep it to the one.
No, but that's like, I mean, that's a good, those are good theories. Like, because he does comment that. He does say, like, you're so much more as a Chester, but it's like, does he mean that in terms of she is more than a Chester? Like, she's not just a Chester? Or does he mean it as, to me, you are so much more than a Chester. You're so much more than just a human. You're, almost in a love aspect.
I think he's like so fascinated, like he's never seen a human Archester with her capabilities that he's like
Hmm.
like awed with her, like awe,
Right.
right? Is that the word? Awe. He's so in
Yeah.
awe.
He's in awe of her.
Yeah, there you go. You say something.
Yeah. But so basically, as they're moving forward, we see that they have a little moment on the horse or donkey, whatever you want to call it. And as you were mentioning, they were getting a little, kind of frisky with each other. She was kind of pushing his hand away, and he kept kind of replacing his hand back and all this stuff. And she wants it and he wants it.
Oh, for
But it is
sure.
like this, yeah, it's like this, I'm going to kill you, but I want you so bad. And it's like, how crazy of a situation to be in. But then he goes and he's like obviously pleasuring her, and she's kind of leaning into it like she likes it. And then she goes
But she
and
steals
grabs
his
his
dagger.
knife. Yep. And she goes and she tries to stab him, but it stops. Did you expect that to happen? Tell me what you were thinking.
Oh yeah, the second that it started mentioning her hands were going behind his back to his buttocks, I was just all like, I already know what this girl is trying to do, which is very smart, by the way. But it was very interesting to see, like, his very playfulness too. Is she did try to stab him, but it didn't go too far into it, into his skin. But he was even like, that shouldn't have never have happened. The weapon shouldn't kill its, like, harm its owner. So then that's the second clue I think that I was trying to tell you about, is if she was able to even scratch him with his own weapon, like there's something more to her. And just the fact
Hmm.
that that's when she found out that the dagger that he did give her wouldn't do any harm to him either. It was just a thing. So
Yeah.
I got my
Yeah.
pinpoint. I could take the pin down because that answered that one. I knew it wasn't going to harm him in any way. So it was just funny how he brought up again, like, you just like to ruin my shirts and stuff. But he was playing with her the whole time, and he's all like, there was one scene where he was like, well, I'm glad you see it my way. And she's like, "Well, I don't, because I'm like your prisoner." And he's all like, "Oh yeah." But he said a funny word for it instead of just like, "Oh yeah." I want to say like, I don't know. He was just very playful.
I love his personality. Like his humor. I feel like he's so sarcastic with her. Um but like really smart in how he does it, and then she's just kind of like sassy back, but like, I don't know. I love their chemistry. I know I've said this before. I love Daisy as a character. She's probably one of my favorite characters in general out of most of the books I read, just because of her personality and her feistiness. And she's not that type where she goes to like, she's this weak human, and then like 2 weeks later, all of a sudden she's like the strongest fighter. Like, I like that about her character, that we've already been given to her as being strong, and we just see her personality coming out the more and more like read about her. But yeah, I love how he mentions the shirt. He's like, "What is with you and my shirts?" Like, and she's like, "Well, I don't know what to tell you. Your shirt is what was the word she used? I can't
Collateral
remember, but
damage.
yeah, it's collateral damage." And I thought that was funny. But yeah, we find that the dagger that he has and that he made for her was created in the wields of his realm. So because he's the one who created it, the dagger is not allowed to harm the owner. And he does call it an it, almost as if it has its own personality and everything. And he
Well, he
tells
did
her,
say it
the
was
fact,
alive
yeah, the fact that she was able to even cause any type of damage on him shows that the knife must have a sense of humor and
and
really
likes
like her.
her. Yeah.
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 So, but isn't it's just funny how like she went to kill him and he continued on with whatever they were doing together,
Oh yeah,
And
he
I
didn't
just,
stop touching her
no,
until
it's
she
like
was
this is,
finished.
yeah, yeah. And she still afterwards wanted more. Like, she mentions that this is like an undeniable attraction and they don't know what to do about it. But there's something there. They want to kill each other, but at the same time, they're like so attracted to each other and they want each other so bad. So it is this weird thing. It almost makes you feel like, is this magic at play, or is this just two people who know they're supposed to be enemies but are clearly really wanting each other? It's a very interesting connection we have there between the two of them.
I like it.
Yeah. Now, the last thing I wanted to say is we see them heading a little bit closer towards the fringe. And we know that Daisy had mentioned that all the books she's read, that the fringe is supposed to be like, she almost pictured it as like desert, right? There's supposed to be nothing there. It's like non-existent. There's nothing, like no animals. There should be no living things there, stuff like that. And he tells her that that's true, but it's more the closer you get to the edge of the fringe, right? Because there's a portal that's blocking the realm of the fairyland and the human lands. But because there's this big wall of a portal there, there's still some magic that's seeping through. So the magic that seeps through kind of has a tendency of like not allowing things to grow, causing animals to go a little crazy. And we know what happens on the other side of the wall, in it's not quite the fairy realms yet, but in the Wields, is that there's plants that will come to life and like attack you because there's magic in it. And I thought that was interesting. And I wonder what that's going to lead us to as we continue reading, because they have a
I
long
think it's
journey to
gonna
go.
be I think it's gonna lead us into a lot of fun, and we get to see probably them working more together and see a lot. But I do
Yeah.
like the comment he made after he explained to her that. He said something along the line, "You're gonna hate how much you love it there."
Yeah.
So I'm like, "Oh, I bet
Yeah.
you the second they get over there, it's gonna be like one of the most beautiful things." Like, totally not
Oh,
what
yeah.
she's I feel like all the books that she's read on anything is gonna be, like, completely wrong. Like, she's gonna
Right.
see for herself what's over there and be like, I think her whole world is gonna change,
Yeah.
maybe.
Probably. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens moving forward. Any predictions for the next couple chapters that we're going to read?
Are we reading just the next 3 chapters?
Yes, we're going to do chapters 16, 17, and 18.
Okay, so let's see. There's a lot happening now. I feel okay. I feel like there's going to be a spicy scene in the next 3 chapters, and I feel like it's going to be a close call death that leads them to that type thing. So I feel like they're going to be
Okay.
attacked with one of these creatures in the crazy world that they're about to enter, or I'm going to stick with that.
Okay. Well, I mean, we do know that violence turns on Tarian.
And I
You
feel
know.
like it turns on, Daisy too. She got really turned on as she was stabbing him in the back or trying to stab him in the back, and she got really turned on at the hotel when something happened too, so I think
Yeah.
she cut him there too, so I think I
Yeah. I
something's
think
gonna
it's safe to
happen.
say. I think it's safe to say that if there's going to be some immediate danger, we're going to see some spicy scenes coming. What do you think?
I definitely think so because 'cause they're getting closer and closer, so it's gonna be
Yeah.
great, can't wait.
Me too. Well, was there anything else you wanted to talk about before we end the episode?
No, but we love you guys.
Hmm. That we do. Make sure that if you guys are following us on Spotify and Apple, check us out on YouTube, because if you want to see the picture of the crystal chalice, you're going to have to go check that out. And then if you're not already, make sure you're following us on social media. We're on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, all the fun stuff. And yeah, make sure to leave us a review. If you're not already, also be sure to subscribe, because that will make sure that you guys get the videos out right when we are releasing them. You guys, it'll end up in your library. So it is important for you guys to do that if you want to get the fastest way to access our videos. But other than that, I guess we will see you guys on the next chapter. Bye.
Bye.